So, good morning, everyone. First of all, thank you, Karmaji, for calling us out here. So we are from the Waste Warriors. I'm Itosha.
And I'm Mitali.
So, first of all, who we are. So, we are an organization, an NGO, working mostly on the solid waste management of the area. We work in 3 locations, Dehradun, Corbett, and Dharamshala. So, basically, we focus on a lot of cleanup drives. We have weekly cleanups happening. Then we have waste collection services, door to door. We go to households and then can collect waste. Do a lot of awareness raising programs, one of which we met Karmaji. So we have canopy setups at a lot of public facing places where we can talk to people, tourists and everybody, so that, spreading the awareness is the most important part. And then we work in community engagements. We go to villages, we go to target communities and empower them with how they can manage their waste and how they can, segregate and how exactly they can not litter and keep the place clean and healthy. So that's the main motive. So these are the places where we are working on right now. The entire Triune Trail cleanup happens every Monday, every week we do that. Gallu, Dharamkot, we are doing regular cleanups there. Bhaksunag, Waterfall, every week cleanup, every week canopy setup is there. Makloidganj. Now we are expanding to Dharamshala. We just went to Kareri this last Monday, where we are doing a community cleanup. We are starting a community cleanup there every week, every monthly once, and also Gamru. So these are the places that we are expanding to set up community cleanups happening. The community should come in and they should empower themselves. It's more of it should not be dependent on Waste Warriors coming and cleaning the place. It should be your own thing. That's how we are trying to promote. So these are the things overall that we are working on: cleanup drives, door-to-door collection, community awareness, public place transformation with wall murals and art installations. We're doing a lot of education programs. We are connecting with a lot of schools right now. Advocacy, we are working with the government. And then solid waste management projects in newer areas, like we mentioned, like Gamru, Kareri, we have started. And then we are trying to put in other places as well. So coming to the actual waste management process, like what we can do. Before that, just what we are doing out here, we are just trying to make things work as much as possible for everybody, for the next generation, for our generation. Keep the place clean, and it's very important that we understand the implications of not taking it seriously. Because this is very high time that we take garbage seriously, else you can see that it's just going worse and worse every day. So if you don't take an action right now, it's gonna get bad. When we are coming here, we should be respecting the place, respecting the culture, and it should be properly maintained as well. Just leave no trace when you're going back. That's the basic thing that we have to learn, especially Indian tourists. So that's what we are trying to do as much as possible. On the solid waste management, Mitali will take you through. Yeah.
There are 2 ways to look at it. One is at the macro level and one is at the micro level. So first I will talk about at the macro level. So macro level is basically, first we talk about, let's start from the central. That is the central government. The central government has passed a policy, it's called the Solid Waste Management Rule 2016. The recent one is 2016. It basically talks about how a area or a region, even a corporation, should manage its waste. So this is how, if we talk about Dharamshala, so Dharamshala is the Dharamshala Municipal Corporation, the main body. The solid waste management comes under the Dharamshala Municipal Corporation. So under that is the duty of the corporation to provide a proper solid waste management that can deal with the whole area. So Dharamshala is basically divided into 17 wards. So solid waste management rule, they have different sections. So first section at the macro level, it talks about that a corporation region, if it has a population more than 50,000, it should have a MRF, that is the material recovery facility. So what material recovery facility does is that it has different machines that segregate, that process, or that mainly the kind of material or the waste that is not basically processed. Right now we don't have that in Dharamshala. So we have been, me and Itosha have been talking, constantly in touch with the Dharamshala Municipal Corporation. The head is the Commissioner sir, he is the Pradeep Thakur. So right now all the waste that is being collected from the Dharamshala area is going to the dump site. Does anyone has seen the dump site? Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah, we should put it, yeah. What the corporation has done is that it has given the whole contract to a private body, that is the Vishal Protection Force. So they are responsible for collecting waste from door to door and also segregation. Actually, it is not happening at the household level, so they have given the whole responsibility to get rid of their problem. They are just given it to the Vishal Protection Force, like you have to do it. They haven't given any guidance to their workers, not even the head of the Vishal Protection Force. So that is the main problem. So what we as a waste warriors are doing with the corporation is that I will talk about our upcoming project. So there is the ward number 7, it's the secretariat. So we are going to convert it into a model ward. So what it basically be doing is that we are going to work with the corporation and the Vishal Protection Force and even the households that are living there. So we are going to have, we have divided that ward number 7 into phases. Each phases has almost 100 to 150 households. So we are going to, we are currently in the phase of doing survey of the whole area. So like how many households are there, how many shops are there, how many government offices are there, to get the idea like what are the amount of waste we are going to deal with and the number of people we are going to deal with. So under the first phase, we have selected the Dane Road. It is the main road, you must have known, like there's this post office bus stand to the Kacheri Road. That is the Kacheri, what do you say, Bazaar. So that area we have selected. Under that, the survey we have done, it has 150 households. So what we are going to do that, we are going to have a workshop for them that will include all the households and the government, maybe one of the representative from the corporation, and one will be the representative from the Vishal Protection Force, and also the workers who are collecting waste from that area. So so that we have a mutual understanding what everyone should do. So in that workshop, we are going to tell all the households, since we cannot ask them to segregate your waste into 5, 6, 7 divisions. So right now we are just have simplified it. So starting with the 3 divisions. So we are making it into wet waste. That will be the organic waste, that is the kitchen waste. Then we have the dry waste, and then third is the sanitary waste. Right now we don't have the solution for sanitary waste, but we need to give an option. Like if they mix it with the wet waste or the dry waste, then the whole waste will get contaminated. So this is our upcoming project. So here I have divided so this is at the macro level. Now when we talk about the micro level, like how can an institute or an individual can deal with their waste. So this is actually more important. Because when we talk about the macro level, we again went back to blaming the government, like they are not doing this, they haven't any setup yet which can process the plastic waste. So if we actually start working at the micro level, we started educating people, we start telling the institutes like how can they at an individual level or an institute level, they can deal with their waste. So I think that will be more efficient, and if we can tell them about the type of different waste, what can be done about those waste at their own level. So in that way, we can reduce so much of waste that needs to be processed. So it will become easy and efficient for the proper solid waste management of the whole Dharamshala area. So here I have given a 4-step guide for how as an institute or an individual we can deal with our solid waste. So first step is actually to know your waste. Why we call waste is waste that because we don't know what we are going to do with it or how it will be useful to us. That's why it's called a waste. So it's a survey done by the Press Information Bureau. It's data from 2016. So right now we have all the, it is a sample of the household. So if we talk about a household, one household, it has the 50% of the waste is actually dry waste, and only 40% is the wet waste, and the remaining only 10% is the sanitary waste. So if we start segregating our wet waste and dry waste, and we don't mix it, so I think we have a better solution and how we can process it and how we can further use it. So wet waste and the organic waste. What is happening right now is because all the waste is being collected from the households in the mixed form, it is going to the landfill directly. Even the wet waste, that is very sad, but yeah. So what is happening is once all these sanitary waste, dry waste and wet waste get mixed in the landfill, it's the reaction become anaerobic reaction, and it produces methane gas. This methane gas, this greenhouse gas is even more potent than the carbon dioxide that is emitted from the vehicles. So which is actually the biggest reason of why we have this greenhouse effect in our area, which is the main reason behind the climate change recently that we have observed. So this is the main reason that we need to control this. I think if we can control this, we can have a huge impact on the climate change that is happening right now because of this mixed waste. So next. So I will tell you about how the wet waste can be processed later on. First I am telling you the type of waste and how can it be managed and what are the main problems that we are facing right now. So if we talk about the dry waste we have basically the recyclables and the non-recyclables. What happens that in recyclables I have given you here the 5 options: the paper, cardboard, glass, metal, e-waste. These can be easily recyclable. These are the most easily recyclable material. But still, it's very sad that in the dump site when we went last time, because because it was the Diwali season, lot of people were cleaning their houses. All the waste was dry waste. Just recently when we went inside the landfill, this VPF truck came inside and they were just emptying the truck, and it was all the dry waste, and mostly it was paper. It was very sad that they were dumping the paper. So paper, yes, you said that it is recyclable, but when it gets mixed, and because the landfill has such an environment that it is in a compact space. So if you are saying that a paper you have thrown it in water bodies or something, it can get recycled easily. Matlab, it will decompose. But if you have sent it to the landfill, because there we don't have water, there is a constant, it's under the constant touch of the sun, heat. So it doesn't get recycled, or it doesn't decompose under the environment that the landfill has. So it started under the reaction of the mixed waste, all this waste we have in the landfill, it started producing methane gas. Even these paper and cardboard also. And the glass is also recyclable, metals everyone know. E-waste, even e-waste has even a lot of people throw these e-waste, but they have valuable metals like platinum, even gold. A certain amount of gold is also there. If you gave it to the scrap dealer, he has workers in that in his area, so he will even segregate all those metals. They have this integrated chips they have inside that, so even they will segregate the aluminium part, the plastic part, the metal, different metals, they will segregate everything, and it's very valuable. But once you throw it, then it's of no value. So this is the one of the most important slides, I believe. So you must have seen that all the food packaging, you go to any grocery shop, you go to any supermarket, you will see all the packaging will have these 7 signs. Some of will say that these 3 rotating signs, it means that these are recyclable, but it need not be. Like what does that means? Because recyclable and non-recyclable mainly depend from region to region. Suppose if you go to USA, there is a company called TerraCycle. So they recycle every single thing, from the chewing gum to the plastic wrappers they have, to the shoes they have, everything, the rubber, everything they recycle. But in India, if we talk especially about the Dharamshala region, there are only few plastic that the scrap dealers will buy or that they can sell to recycling plants. So these number 1, 2, 3 and 4, these are the recyclables that the scrap dealers, you must have heard about, I don't know. There is one of his name is Sitaram. He is in McLeodganj. He deals with the plastic, all kinds of waste. So in Dharamshala, all the scrap dealers, they will take these kind of number 1, 2, 3, 4. They will take these plastic because they are recyclable. Most of these recyclable that they collect in Dharamshala goes to the Chandigarh. So they have a recycling plant there. So they take these 4 kind of plastic. The other 3, that the PP, the PS and the others, they are not taken by anyone. But now we have a solution for that too. Like as the Etosha told you, the government of Himachal Pradesh has passed a rule buyback policy. So under that, they are going to buy these kind of plastics that are not recyclable. but the condition is that they should be clean. So they are going to buy these plastic that are not recyclable at 75 rupees per kg. So I believe you start collecting them. So so these kind of plastics they will buy, and what are they going to do is that they have two options for that. One, they are going to give it to the PWD, that is the Public Work Department, who in the road construction. They will use it in road construction. So what they have given is that 1 kg of bitumen can replace the 1 kg of plastic, these non-recyclable plastic. So it's the same amount, but they are gaining a huge, because bitumen costs more and the plastics are cost very less. So it's a profit for them. So that's how they came up with this 75 rupees cost for these kind of plastic. So these the most common type of plastic that you will see in the all kind of like plastic water bottles, or the shampoo that you use, or the cooking oil that you use. PET is the soft drink bottles that you must have heard. So these are the ones that are used in mineral water. So I will give you each examples of each one. So PET or PETE, both are same. So they are the ones found in the mineral water bottles. HDPE is a high density polyethylene. So it's the hard plastic. I don't see it here, but you must all the shampoo packets, the hard plastic. There is one rule for the plastic: the thicker it is, the more easily it is recyclable. So these are the HDPE is the most easily recyclable plastic, most easily, number 2. So if you go to any market shop, I advise you to look at the bottle, and it will be at the bottom or at the side. Yeah, mostly it is at the bottom. So you see that number 2, then you can buy it. Even the local scrap dealers can take it from you at a certain price. And PVC, the common material used in PVC is actually the pipes. So that is, we don't use it in general household use, but yeah. So mostly that we use at the household level is number 1, 2 and number 4. Number 4 you must have seen in the cafes when you go, you must have seen the ketchup bottle. They are very, you can squeeze it easily. They are very soft. So these are LDPE. Even all the electronics you buy, they have a soft plastic polythene bag, small. It's very soft to touch. That is also LDPE. Then polypropylene is a kind of a plastic. It is used in toys. It's a hard kind of plastic. If you you knock on it, it will have a tuck kind of a sound. It's a hard plastic. And then PS is mostly the styrofoam is also a kind of a PS, but it is mostly aerated and used in packaging. It is the most harmful plastic of all these plastic. And other plastic is number 7. Most of the chips packaging and the biscuits packaging, you will see they will have a written number 7. So it's very easy for them. Actually, the number 7 is not recyclable, and it is in a mixed form. It is not a single kind of a plastic. They have different component, like the inner part is some kind of a aluminium foil and the outer is the plastic. So it's very difficult to separate those elements. So it cannot be recycled. So, but the government, as I told you, the government policy, they will take these kind of plastics and they will use it for road construction. And the second option they have given is the cement factory. So they will sell these to the cement factories and they will use it for the energy generation. Segregate your waste. Second step is the segregation. There are 2 reasons to segregate, obviously. First is obviously when you mix the waste, it gets polluted and then it's very difficult to separate them. And then it's second is that it is very difficult for the workers who are actually dealing with the waste. You can see that even the Vishal Protection Force, they haven't provided them any equipments. Like they don't even have the gloves to use. Like if you go to the landfill, people are using their hands to empty the trucks, to separate those, to separate different kinds of plastics. So yeah, there are 2 reasons why do we need to segregate. So if I give you an example of our office waste warrior, if you visit us, please do come. So we have divided our waste into 10 parts, and I'm still increasing. For every kind of waste, I have different cardboard box, and I'm very strict for that, so when they don't follow. So yeah, segregation is very important so that it don't get polluted or degraded. The third step is reduce your waste. Yeah, I think One of the thing is that when we talk about segregation, waste reduction, we should know that it's a privilege that we can do that. In India, we are still fighting. We are still in that phase that we don't bother about the waste management because still we are dealing with the poverty, the hunger, the education. So this is not the priority right now. But if you hear somewhere that you have to reduce your waste, you have to segregate your waste, you should know that you are very privileged, that you are able to do that, you are able to hear such kind of a thing. Because people don't even have to eat, they don't have education. They are, yeah, so reduce your waste. This is how we as an individual can have our part on saving our environment. So first, there are a lot of ways. So first is whenever you go to shopping, you take your own bags, and reduce. Whenever you go for grocery shopping, you go to wholesale market where you get in an open form all the lentils, all the fruits and veggies. And whenever also carry a container, so that whenever you buy eating something, so you can have it in your container, or you take your water bottles. Yeah, don't use single-use plastic, or avoid chips and healthy food packaging, and also tell your friend. That is very important. So a few things I wanted to tell you about these materials is that one is plastic, then we have metal, and then we have paper and clothes. These four things. So there are a lot of studies being done, like, is it really safe to use, it is really better to use clothes or paper as compared to plastic. So every material have their advantage and disadvantages. Paper, when we talk about paper, we are ultimately cutting down trees. Even though they are recyclable, but yeah, we are cutting down trees. Second, the metal. The metal comes from the mining industries. The mining industries, if you go to any mining site, even I haven't been to mining site, but yeah, I have study all about them. But the mining industries, that area, you cannot live in around that area because they have so much of the particulate matter that we use to calculate the quantity of air. It's so bad, like the 2.5 particulate matter is very high. You cannot live there. So that is also, in a way, we are harming the environment. And the third is cloth. The textile industry is one of the most polluting industries in the world after agriculture. So that is also, I won't say that it is better, it's not better than plastic. Yeah, obviously it is better than plastic, but every material has certain disadvantages. And the third, the last is plastic. Plastic advantages is that it comes from it is a byproduct of petroleum industry. So in a way it is a byproduct, so it's good. But the amount of water required to convert that byproduct of petroleum into a plastic is also huge. So it has also negative. So even we say that these plastics are recyclable, we can easily recycle them. But another thing about the plastic is that once you recycle a plastic, like I told you that number 2 plastic, HDPE, high density polyethylene, it is very easily recyclable. But you cannot recycle plastic forever. Once you recycle it, it loses its quality. So, if you are, you have the huge amount, it goes to the recycling plant. The processing, it's not that you melt it and then you can make it into bottle again. You have to mix the already HDPE plastic with the virgin plastic that has not been used before. So in a way, you are using plastic more if you are recycling it. It cannot be directly converted from HDPE bottle to another HDPE bottle. So we are mixing virgin plastic again. So everything has a negative impact. But still, like metal is it can be a good option now, that because metal is because now we have already extracted the metal from the earth. But if you recycle it, it can be recycled again and again. It never loses its property. And aluminium is the best. So aluminium bottle, if you use that water bottle, those are very best. Even the aluminium cans that we have in the cold drinks, those are also one of the best option. So, but still, as I told you, like every material have their negative impact. It doesn't mean like we stop using it, we go back to the cave life. But yeah, if you have one bottle, one plate, one spoon, I think that is enough when you go somewhere or when you travel. Yeah. Yeah, fourth step. Become a waste warrior. So we have lot of opportunities because we are mostly, we like working with the volunteers. We have volunteers from all across the world. Recently we have 2 volunteers from Brazil, Flavia and Vittorio. They are very nice. So they help us set up canopy. Recently we set up a vertical garden in municipal corporation office. So we use these PET bottles, and we have, yeah, it was 150 bottles that we have planted in the office of the corporation building. So they also help that in. So we have a lot of activities going on every day. So we need volunteers for that. Like we need artists who can help us in renovating walls, spread awareness about the solid waste management. And second is the Swachhata partner, that we have weekly cleanups every week. So we have Triund, we go to Triund every Monday, and we go to Bhaksu waterfall every Thursday. So you can also be a part of that cleanup drive with us. And yeah. So organic waste management. So this is here I'm going to tell you about the composting, how we can deal with our organic waste. So like I told you before, organic waste decomposes under certain condition. Like if you send it to the landfill, we have the misconception that okay, it's organic waste, it's natural, what can happen? But under different condition you can have negative impact, under different condition you can have positive impact. As I told you, like if the your kitchen waste is going to the landfill, it's going to smell, because there are other waste too, the plastic waste, the paper waste. It cannot decompose there, and the bacteria that actually helps in the decomposition of these organic waste, they cannot survive in those conditions, the landfill kind of a situation. So therefore they have this anaerobic reaction where they produce methane gas, which ultimately leads to the greenhouse gas emission. So yeah, if we started composting at our institution or at our house, I think we can better manage our dry waste also. If we can stop the wet waste from going to the landfill or from getting collected by other organization, that I think that will be the most beneficial for the when we talk about the solid waste management. So compost, a mixture of various decaying organic substances that can be used to help grow plants and keep soil healthy. So basically what is happening is that all the organic waste, once it comes under the contact of bacteria, the right amount of moisture, the right amount of temperature, it can it get converted into compost, and that can help that provide nutrition to the soil, that ultimately help the growth of the plants or the trees that we grow. So this data is 2018 data from the same Public Information Bureau, that each households, if we calculate on an average, produce 0.5 kg of organic waste. So per year, if we calculate, it's 180 kilograms. So if at an individual we started managing our wet waste and start composting, and I tell you, it's not very difficult to compost. So I think we can, we can significantly reduce the amount of waste that is going to the landfill. Yeah. So next, compostable. So all the fruits, vegetables, tree leaves, or the eggs or the shell, coffee filters, even the ground tea bags, they have paper only, so that can also goes to the compostable material. Even the fish and the shell, these are mainly the calcium, meats and bones, they all can be compostable. Even the plate scrapping, the remaining food that we have, the paper that is soiled with the food, and all the dairy products, even the butter and the milk, can go into the compostable materials. So method of composting, there are 2 methods, aerobic composting and anaerobic composting. In aerobic composting, what is happening is that all the compost, the organic waste is in direct contact with the air. That's why it's called aerobic. And in anaerobic composting, it's not in the contact of air. It's under a dig pit. So yeah, so both of the thing, the anaerobic decomposition is slow process, but it is very efficient when we are composting at a community level. And anaerobic composting is good when we are doing it at the individual or households level. So next. So composting bins require, we have two things that we call as the component when we are composting. One is the brown and the greens. The brown can go, brown is basically the dry, and the greens are the organic waste. So browns can have cardboard, paper, egg boxes, eggshell, cocoa peat. Cocoa peat is the powder form of the coconut husk. Then we have dry leaves from the garden or the sawdust. The greens have vegetables, peels, fruit, peels, leftover food. The leftover food, one thing about the leftover food is that it should not have a lot of oil, because the bacteria cannot decompose oil. They won't survive in that condition. The grass clippings, the flowers, tea and coffee. So home composting at food. This is the pit. For if you have a community of 20 to 30 people, then you can have a pit of almost 3 by 4 feet deep and 2 by 3 feet wide. So this is not a hard rule. It can also increase or decrease based on the number of people we have in each community or the number of people who want to compost. But yeah, you can take a standard size if you want to start new. So what we do is that once you have dig a pit, you all the soils that is collected from that, you can keep it on the side. So first you make what you can do, that you can have a separate container for your wet waste. You start collecting the whole wet waste you collect for the whole day. Once you have collected it, like the day is over, you spread it on the pit. So you have one layer of the wet waste. So after that you cover it with soil, or if you have dry leaves, you cover it with that. So one advantage of this composting is that it doesn't require a lot of water, because the earth already has certain amount of moisture. Even if you spray certain once in a day, so that will be enough for this compost. So once you have a layer of green, then above that you can have a layer of brown. So if you have leaves, that will be fine, or if you have paper, cardboard. These brown and green leaves we basically put to absorb the extra water, because if the green have extra water, the bacteria won't survive in that. So you have to maintain a proper balance of the water. So the lack of the air in the pit will slow down the decomposition. Slow down the decomposition, but it is good because it can collect a large amount of your wet waste and also improve the soil quality. Second is the matka composting. This is one of my favorite. So here, this is also actually same. The matka composting, this was also the same advantage, that because the matka has a porous layer, so it will absorb the extra water and it won't produce the lechet. We call the extra water, you must have heard that it smells bad. So it won't produce that, because it will maintain a proper amount of water in your compostable bin. So this is also the same. You can have a layer of brown first, then you can have above that you can have a layer of your green, which is your kitchen waste, and then again your layer. Once you have filled, once it is filled, you can mix it again. You can actually, if you are using at a household level, you can have these two matka. So like once this matka is full, you can start making layers in the other. So once this matka is full, you can again mix it. So this is basically the aerated one. This will have aerobic reaction. So you will have to mix it again once it is mixed. So you keep it, actually it takes almost 1 month to convert it into a compost. So once it is, like suppose the another matka is filled again, so then you probably by then it will be full, and then it can be used as a compost. The one thing is that it should the most important thing when you are composting is only the amount of water. If it has a very huge amount of water, so it will also not decompose, and if you have very less or it's very dry, then also it won't decompose, because the bacteria won't survive. So actually this is very natural, like you are using only your greens and browns, but if you have to accelerate your process, you have to make your compost into, convert it early, because you required it early, or you want to make the process fast. So we have different agents also. It's called, one of the agents that we have here is, it's in the bottle, it's called Nature Well. So it is also made from a fruit and vegetable peel. It can actually accelerate the process of decomposition. So instead of using water, you can use this bottle. Actually, you just require In 1 liter of water, you require only 5 ml of this solution. So yeah, next. And another option that you have is that if you don't prefer matka, you can use this trust bin and smart bin. Actually, they have the same concept, but only thing is that they are made of plastic and they look, to some people it looks interesting and hi-fi, I think. So actually these are same thing only, the only thing difference is the brand. The one is called trust bin and another is called smart bin. In this also you have to make a layer of your green and your brown. So one thing about this is that it has a tap at the bottom. What it does is that if you have extra water in your compost, then you can take it out. And that water is also useful, that you can use to plant your that you can use for your plants. So convert waste to compost into 4 to 6 weeks. Sorry. This solve the space issue in small houses and apartment flats. These bins are designed to stack one on the top of the other, thereby saving more spaces. So if you don't have much space in your garden, or you don't have a garden, then you can use this, because you can. It is here actually. So yeah, if you don't have, so these are mostly used by those people who don't have a garden where they can keep these compost, so they can keep it inside, so it doesn't smell. They have a lid also, it covers the whole compost mixture. Another is the garden waste. This is our composting enclosure in Dehradun, where our head office is. So this is actually a Gandhi Park in Dehradun. They have actually used these because they have a lot of trees there, so they have a lot of dry waste in that, dry leaves in that area. So what they are doing is that they have 2-3 workers in that whole park. They collect all the dry leaves and then they use it to make it into compost. So if you want to make a compost for your dry leaves only, then this is also the same thing, only the difference is actually you can have here, they call it the enclosure. Here they have used the iron poles with chicken wires. So you can have a different design too if you want, but this one is a simple and easy to make. So they have used an enclosure of 6x4 and on the ground, and what they do is this is also the same thing. They first make actually they have here used gunny bags. What happens in the dry leaf is that they don't easily absorb water. So they have make a layer of gunny bags and then they spray water on it, they make it wet, and then above that they make a layer of the dry leaves that has been collected from the garden, and then again once there is enough 2-3 inch of the leaves, then they will again make a layer of gunny bags and then spray the water so that the moisture content is maintained in that whole enclosure. So this is how they compost their dry waste, dry leaves, Dry leaves are actually, they can be compostable within 2-3 weeks. Their process is fast. And here also they have used the nature well, that is the composting agent. Instead of water, they have mixed water with the nature well to increase the rate of the decomposition. Next. So this was about it. So if you come to us, I can tell you how the smart bins or the different components that we have under the smart bins that you can use for your composting.